Good afternoon, everyone. The presentation is going to focus on language and communication. I would begin with the word communication. Media critic and theorist James Carey said, "Communication is a symbolic process whereby reality is produced, maintained, repaired, and transformed. It is a process of exchanging ideas, thoughts, and information from one person to another, verbally or non-verbally." Next, we must understand the communication model. The communication process is a dynamic framework that describes how a message travels between a sender and receiver using various communication channels. Its goal is to ensure the receiver decodes the message correctly and can provide feedback with ease and speed. The message has to be compelling. For this, both the sender and receiver must consider the context and situation of the message. We should select the best channel considering the context, urgency, and communication cost. The sender or the communicator generates the message and conveys it to the receiver. The loop is complete only after the feedback has been provided. Feedback is essential for finding out whether the message has been properly received, decoded, accepted, and used by the receiver. It is a yardstick which measures the effectiveness of communication. Our motive should be to communicate in the clearest and most effective way possible. If the sender is not sure about the idea, the audience won't be either. We should try to minimize the number of ideas in each sentence. People shouldn't have to read between the lines. One should stick to the point and keep it brief. The audience doesn't want to read 6 sentences when we can communicate the message in 3. Audience gets a clear picture when there are vivid facts, the message is solid, and it is formed on one idea. An error-free communication with technical terms used should fit the level of education or knowledge of the receiver. And yes, no grammatical errors and spelling mistakes. The receiver should get all the relevant information like dates, name, time, location, etc. Be friendly, be open, and be honest. There shouldn't be hidden insults or passive-aggressive tones. We should use terms to show respect. The manner in which you address someone is very important. Next, I would like to turn to the barriers. Words convey different meanings to different people. Age, education, and cultural background are the major factors that influence the use of language by people and the meanings they associate with words. Instead of listening in a rational and objective manner to what is being said, one occasionally becomes emotionally involved. Judgments are imposed in place of rational fact appraisal. Consequently, the receiver hears only what he expects to hear. Let's move on to ways of overcoming the barriers. We should approach communication as a creative process rather than simply part of work. We should experiment with alternatives. What works with one person may not work with another person. One very interesting point to consider in terms of communication competence is the ability to take the listener into account. There is an understanding that speakers often need to adjust their language to accommodate the listener. Some people continue to speak using complex grammar and vocabulary, not adjusting the pronunciation, and basically expecting the listener to take all the effort in understanding. When we are preparing the structure of a message, we shouldn't do it according to our own level or ability. We have to keep in mind the level, understanding, and the environment of the receiver. Next, I will talk about mother tongue as medium of instruction. The language of instruction is merely a medium of communication used to convey subject content. To make learning effortless and natural, the child should be taught through the language he is familiar with, through which he can think creatively and which helps him in socialization. There are many psychological benefits of having the mother tongue as a medium of instruction. It is the main language used constantly from birth to interact with a child. Empirical research has shown that the use of mother tongue in early literary and content learning stages is more effective than use of a foreign second language. We have a natural context around us into which we are immersed, and that is our mother tongue. The cultural, societal, pedagogical, and psychological benefits of mother tongue instruction has been proved after some current research. Now, this does not mean that children don't learn the official language of their country, which is in most cases English. Recent research reports that becoming literate and fluent in one's first language is important for overall language and cognitive development as well as academic achievement. Mastering a first language and learning core concepts promotes general cognitive development that is needed to learn a second language more easily and rapidly. Because language and readings are closely related, learning to read in one's first language facilitates reading in a second language, since many key skills related to reading are transferable from one language to another. Personally, I feel a teacher should have a good command of both the international and vernacular language, with the adequate knowledge of the content of the subject. A bilingual system that starts with the mother tongue as the main medium of instruction, while as international second language is gradually introduced using the mother tongue is recommended. Turning to classroom language, we should use the in-person time in classroom for interactions that require applying, synthesizing, and creating. This shows the difference between teacher-fronted and learner-centered teaching practices. A teacher should focus on quality teacher talk to facilitate language learning specially. Problems like dealing with large classes and syllabus completion is generally raised by teachers, saying it's difficult to set up speaking activities and give students enough time to speak. However, none of these issues is too great to overcome. It can be done by selecting the right kind of activities where they get enough reasons to speak. Children won't speak English simply because the teacher tells them to do so. They need a meaningful reason to speak. Listening and giving feedback is very important in such activities. When we usually hope that someone is listening and that they will respond in some appropriate way. Moreover, a teacher should believe in banishing the quiet classroom. The role of teacher talk is to maximize students' learning. Teachers assist students in learning a new language through classroom talk. With the advent of communicative language teaching, classroom interaction analysis has emphasized on the ratio of the amount of teacher talking time in comparison to the student talking time. Learning one language isn't enough because one size doesn't fit for all. The scope of multilingualism has broadened immensely to the extent that it now covers the whole world. Even the countries that were until recently considered strictly monolingual, such as Japan and Iceland, are now experiencing an influx of languages and multilingual speakers. It is diffusive, being part and parcel of most current human activities. Multilingualism has gradually developed into a phenomenon, crucial in its role and impact on human civilization. It is central to the progress of maintenance of modern civilization. Economy, that one word which decides and dominates almost everything. Proficiency in the planet's corporate language will soon define each person's place on the earth and beyond. Learning more than one language has made borders and boundaries irrelevant and facilitates cultural, political, economic, and environmental connections. The ability to communicate across cultures is only through language. China is an indispensable developing power, is playing a significant role on the world stage. So is its language. English was introduced by the colonial masters and it never left. English is arguably the most widely used language to the extent that it could be considered to be an international language. It helps us to compete well in the global village. It guarantees us access to the system and equal opportunity to participate in it. People want to speak English because it is the language of advertising, blockbuster movies, music, as well as vital for success. Except English, no other language dominates international business, curriculum, media, the internet, and international air-sea traffic. So globalization leads to diversity rather than uniformity. I still think our national identity lies in the culture we follow. People are born into a global system which delineates geopolitical spaces as nations. There is a correlation of distinct languages with certain ethnic or national forms of identification. Earlier, language would be an emblem in the nationalist phase, which was put to use by nationalist activists to accomplish their goals. It is believed that each nation is a linguistic entity. Language provides the most immediate link among people and helps to establish well-defined boundaries. The essence of a nationality is its spirit, is its individuality, its soul. The soul is not only protected and reflected by the mother tongue, but in a sense, the mother tongue is itself an aspect of the soul, a part of the soul. Yes, language signifies nationality, and nationality signifies language. This presentation cannot be complete without discussing the importance of technology. The application of modern technology represents a significant advancement in contemporary language teaching methods. Electronic teaching programs have become the predominant reference of instructors since they boost positive student engagement with teachers and incentivize learning. Most contemporary language teachers now actively incorporate a range of technological aids designed to facilitate optimum teaching delivery. Learners acquire language skills in a practical and realistic way. Indeed, it is evident that many routine learning issues can be overcome through the effective incorporation of technology. Moving on to the significance of language. Although all species have their ways of communicating, humans are the only ones who have mastered the cognitive language communication. Aristotle says, man is a rational animal, and what sets him apart, what raises him above the animals, is that he has the ability to reason, and it is very clear that he cannot reason without language. Growth of civilization was possible only because of language. Due to language, people all over the world come close. I would like to conclude by emphasizing on the fact that language has the power to build societies, but also tear them down. So choose your language and words wisely. Thank you.